running never did much good. Hiding doesn't last forever. You can't run faster when it's you you're running from. So you throw your hands up like doves to the setting sun. Somewhere down the stars are falling like jewels upon a thin black veil. You'll find the mysteries enthralling. 5 seconds seems like 5 billion years. 10,000 galaxies away, yet still so near.
Welcome to Karen Holton's podcast. Karen permanently lost 178 pounds and found happiness and success by following her own advice. She has now developed that advice into the quantum health transformation. Heal, evolve, and thrive. Karen's website offers a free webinar workshop series, and you'll also find tools, methods, and practices to assist you to become the change you want to see in the world. She believes that we are all connected. Heal the planet by healing yourself. Connect with Karen at her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and through Facebook at Facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Now for the podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Quantum Health Transformation. So we've got another workshop for you today. Quantum Health Transformation version 3.0, Step 5, Green. Food is medicine and source of universal love energy. Step 5 is designed for those who wish to improve their state of well-being through a biologically appropriate diet. Learn about how local, organic, fresh, raw, and live foods add an abundance of sun energy to nourish and heal us. And it provides an understanding of the relationship between spiritual enlightenment and the ways that we care for our temple bodies. Step 5 will teach you how foods can serve as medicine, how food is a rich source of spiritual energy, and some delicious ways to care for the temple body. Be sure to also check out the corresponding video tutorial. To find out more about my work, all of the links are featured below in the description. Subscribe to my channels, leave me some comments, smash that like button, and share this video with your friends. My students today are Don Rogers, Canadian Spinja, and Ray. Please do check out their channel. Their links are below in the description. And to find out more about my work, as I mentioned before, all my links are also listed below. So thank you guys for joining me again for the Quantum Health Transformation, Step 5. So we're in the middle part of the complete program where we are doing basically detoxification. And a big part of detoxifying is to learn about a biologically appropriate diet. So please don't feel intimidated by any of this. We're just taking it one step at a time. And the things that resonate with you are the things that you need to pay attention to. And do you guys have anything you want to say before we get started?
Just thank you again for bringing us along with this journey, because we're learning quite a bit, and we're sharing, we're sharing what we're learning with people, and it's great. And I'm just gonna say again to the parents out there, if you have an opportunity to take part in this program, and if your kids are interested at all, it's worth it. It has I feel like it's opened up the conversation with all of us, and I think, like with being the change and making the world the way we want to see it, that's how you do it. Communication is so important, and this course has been so helpful, and so thank you again for letting us be a part of it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. You've definitely made the workshop more interesting, and thank you so much. So here we are in the screen share. And again, we're starting with an overview of the complete program. Those of you who are listening on an audio platform, you might want to come over and watch the video so that you can get the full impact of the workshop, and take a look at the landing page here where we have the complete program, just so that you can get an idea of where we are within the program and how that corresponds to the other sections. So this is Quantum Health Transformation. It's a new health paradigm. It was written by myself, Karen Holton. Version 3.0, Advanced Training for Healers and Alternative Health Practitioners. Step 5, Green, Food as Medicine and Source of Universal Love Energy. Welcome. This PDF primer is meant to accompany the live recorded workshop, which we're doing today. And so there's 2 videos for each part or each step. And I recommend that you take a look at the video tutorial as well as the workshop. And both primer and live quantum health transformation version 3.0 workshops will be presented in descending number order when published to YouTube and my website. So you'll start with step 9 and work your way down to do step 1 last. And just a reminder, all information presented in any quantum health transformation media was received in a download and was channeled from the Living Library, also known as the Akashic Records. Further, this material was downstepped and developed through the filter of my own personal life experience. I'm not an expert, a mathematician, or a scientist. I'm a seeker of knowledge and wisdom. The Quantum Health Transformation Program is ideal for those who are awakening and for those who are experiencing ascension symptoms. But the content is beneficial for everyone who wishes to experience a better quality of life. This system of quantum health transformation works well for me. However, you must synthesize this information and take only that which serves you. At the very least, it is my hope that from this material, you will be stimulated to seek your own inner wisdom. And also, please note that any part of the Quantum Health Transformation Original, version 2.0 or version 3.0 series can be copied and shared for free under the Fair Use Clause, as long as credit is given to myself, Karen Holton. Thank you. I also recommend that you go and visit my website and download your own personal copy of the PDF. And please help to support my work by asking your clients and your customers to purchase PDF copies of this presentation from my website shop. So today for the screen share, we're actually using the copy of the PDF so you can get an idea of what you would get if you download it. And I am charging $3.99 for each PDF, and that helps me to cover some of my expenses. But the basic program is free for everybody through social media platforms. And for today, I'm going to read a very brief disclaimer. This PDF and the information on the website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, is presented as is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or advice of a qualified licensed medical professional. The facts presented in this presentation or on the website are offered as information only, not medical advice, and in no way should anyone infer that we are practicing medicine. Seek the advice of a medical professional for proper application of this material to any specific situation. No statement here or on the website has been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, the CFIA, the Department of Health Canada, or any other regulatory authority. Any product mentioned or described in this presentation or website is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. We recommend that you do your own independent research before purchasing anything. So with that out of the way, let's get on to the lesson for today, the body temple and the spirituality of food. The saying, "You are what you eat," is truer than some realize. Your body is an amazing machine which is made up of components from the planet, solar system, and heavens beyond. Foods we eat are grown in the soil where they absorb minerals and other things, which combine with the energy from the sun to form new elements, and this becomes us. When we eat grass-fed and pastured meats, the vitamins and minerals are digested by the gentle beasts, and the nutrients are then found in the meat. Food was recognized as medicine for thousands of years in many cultures, Old and New World. This concept was made popular in the post-classical ages by Hippocrates, who lived between 460 and 375 BC. Let thy food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. This concept is lost in the industrialized nations, who put more faith in the science of food-like products and pharmaceuticals than in traditional eating and healing styles. Now things have come full circle as we find out about the myriad of components in plants and animals that heal and sustain us. Our bodies, the foods we eat, the planet, and the sun are truly intimately related. Real food contains universal love energy. And again, those of you who are listening on an audio podcast, you definitely want to come over and watch the video so you can see these amazing images. On a spiritual level, our bodies are temples which are sustained in ways that surpass the physical elements that we can see or touch. Kirlian photography reveals the energetic quality of food, which is also present in our physical etheric bodies. Local, organic, fresh, raw, live foods and grass-fed pastured meats add an abundance of sun energy, as seen with Kirlian photography, to nourish and heal us in ways mostly unknown to modern society. Besides providing vitamins, minerals, and enzymes, food is a rich source of spiritual energy, which makes healing possible because it feeds our light body and our soul. So the images here are of a man meditating. This is all done with Kirlian photography, and it shows his aura or the light leaking from his body. It shows a wildflower, and it shows a leaf, and there's even a picture of me with my aura that I had that taken quite a few years ago, but it just shows that we all are emitting energy. Whether you choose to stay within a religious paradigm or not, most of us are aware of our spiritual need. The mainstream socio-political economic construct leaves us feeling thirsty for something more. We are becoming aware of all the people who are awakening and evolving around us, and who seem to be able to find something satisfying found within. Yet many remain thirsty while they keep signing up for courses and buying books written by those who have found their spiritual fountain. Is it that spirit is partial? Could some people be more worthy than others? I suggest not at all. In order to become enlightened or filled with spirit, we must prepare ourselves for this gift. Simply taking steps to nurture and care for our temple body will clear the channels for a more rewarding spiritual experience. If you give an inch of effort, the universe will provide a mile in return. Universal tender mercy is all around us, but we have to be willing to let it in. So I know a lot of people, they're just constantly signing up for courses and reading the latest self-help book, and they just never seem to find their spiritual fountain. And so I recommend that that people maybe put all that aside, which is basically mostly going on in the mind, and take a look at what they eat and get down to some real basics in their lifestyle. Enjoying the benefits from the awakening process involves conquering our fears and stepping out into the unknown. In my experience, the fastest way to become connected with the overflowing inner fountain of unconditional love, wisdom, support, and the gift of co-creation is by eating real, life-enhancing, healing food and the tender, loving care we express towards our temple bodies. Be prepared to make some sacrifices and to step outside of your comfort zone. If we are eating dead, lifeless foods, or worse yet, frankenfoods, which are genetically modified or GMO, we are mistreating ourselves, disrespecting the temple body, and are shutting down the avenues for a truly satisfying reality. You deserve a reality that enhances this 3D earthly experience in ways we never before dreamed possible and elevates us towards 5-dimensional experiences. So there's just an image here that shows that we don't just emit frequency and energy. We emit all kinds of different frequencies. And of course, we have our internal chakra system as well, which is energetic. Feast on foods that are satisfying and serve as your ultimate medicine. Experience for yourself this wonderful source of universal love energy. Experience a new level of well-being and prepare to be amazed. All of the food images featured on this page are of raw, unprocessed foods. So at the top on either side, you can see these are newly sprouted seeds. This is the intense energy that they give off. And below you can see an apple that's been sliced in half, and it shows all the energy emitting from the apple. And then here's just a few images of some raw foods that have they're not just delicious and beautiful and enticing to look at, but they also are also emitting these frequencies. So a lot of people are completely out of touch with the energetic component of real food. I want to talk a bit now about beware of what I call the vegan pitfalls. There are a lot of people out there who are claiming that it's more righteous to be a vegetarian or a vegan than to be a meat eater. And they swear that it's cruelty-free and that they're getting everything they need from plants. But I actually beg to differ, and I'd like to offer some other things to think about. Some vegans and vegetarians follow a balanced eating program, but others still cook the life force out of all their foods, rely on processed health foods, and that's in quote, health foods, protein derivatives and vitamin pills. Many binge on sugars and sweeteners, refined and unrefined carbs, fast food and processed meals, and eat foods labeled gluten-free, which are made from refined starches, the same thing as sugar once digested. So a person can be a vegan and eat healthy food and do quite well, but a lot of people are missing the boat, and they think that because they're vegan, it's okay to eat all these prefabricated processed foods in the vegan or health section of the supermarket, or they're taking a lot of those derivative proteins, vitamin pills, and no, that's not helping their health at all. And it's more important to be vibrantly healthy so we can produce the energy that elevates us. That's more important than arguing over what's the right way to eat. Further, some vegans reason that since fresh food is cooked when it hits our stomach acid, they may as well cook all of it before eating it. In this case, the life force escapes into the kitchen rather than within the temple body, where it is absorbed and fully utilized. So, you might want to cook some of your food. I certainly cook some of my food, but we need to eat a certain way so that we're getting that energy released within the stomach. And that is done by eating raw and fresh foods. and especially locally grown. And finally, many vegans and vegetarians look down on the meat eaters, which is a symptom of discontent and a lack of spiritual awareness in itself. Remember, whether we are herbivore or omnivore, we kill what we eat, and all plants and animals are innocent. So another thing I want to mention is people believe that eating vegan is cruelty-free, but the reality of it is there are millions and millions of critters and bugs and all kinds of life within the fields and stuff that are murdered or killed by the herbicides and the pesticides and the clearing of the land. And even when they're harvesting wheat and oats and different grains, there's all kinds of little foxes and all kinds of little animals that are living in that habitat, and they all get mowed under and chopped up by the harvesting equipment. So it doesn't matter which way we eat, we have to face the fact that we're killing something innocent in order for us to eat. And I wish it was different. I really do, but I have not found a way. Dawn, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
In a sense, I just finished up with Stephen from BG Cast, and we were talking about how harmonic energy and that has a lot to do with your perception of like the things you can understand around you. And it's interesting that you're on the frequency and the energy involved in food, because I think that's another place in our biological body that we've been muted with all this dead food that we consume to not be able to perceive. We're too low frequency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, again, there's no one way of eating that suits everybody. So here are some more images, and these are actually pictures of meat so that you can see that meat also radiates that beautiful universe, what I call universal love energy. So this section's called herbivore versus omnivore versus carnivore. Follow your roots. I don't believe that meat is unethical or bad for you. Kirlian photography shows that meat can be full of life force energy. Historically and currently, many cultures of people with good health eat wild and free-range animals and follow a diet based on what foods are available to them. Only when they start to eat a typical American diet does their health decline and they become sick and tired and discontented. So you can see, you know, there's a lot of people who immigrate from other countries, and none of them had weight problems before they immigrate. And then they come to, you know, the United States or Canada or probably Western Europe. And they start eating all the crap that we're used to eating, and their health goes to heck and they gain tons of weight, and they're in the same boat as everybody else. So, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows somebody that's happened to. If your people of origin ate or eat meat, then assume that over thousands of years of ancestral history, they have developed wisdom about food and health. If you are of a mixed heritage like me, then I recommend you experiment with your ancestral diets and find out what works well for you. Cruelty-free sources of protein. I feel at my best when I eat lots of meat protein. I am also a conscientious objector when it comes to the animals I will eat. I consider their quality of life very seriously, and whenever possible, I do not partake of protein sources that have been treated cruelly or without the deep respect they deserve as fellow beings. In industrialized nations, farm factories are a reality. Sometimes we can't afford or can't find grass-fed or pastured cruelty-free meats. So just do your best to avoid participating in their horror, but when necessary, offer thanks and gratitude to the animal you are about to consume. So you may want to just say a little prayer or just offer up some gratitude before you eat your hamburger from Costco. We all have to sometimes. I can't afford to eat strictly grass-fed and pastured. I don't have that kind of income. So when I eat meat that's from, Costco or someplace like that, I don't know where it's coming from. All I can do is offer up to the beasts that lost their life so I could live some gratitude and appreciation. And besides, as they've told me, I know this is going to sound weird, but when I was a vegetarian, I was actually a raw vegan for a while, and actually it was very detrimental to my health. I tried and tried, but I just wasn't getting the protein and the fats that I needed. But I felt very bad and remorseful, for killing all these plants. And I had a vision, and the plant kingdom reached out to me and told me that the plants have three purposes for being here. One is to reproduce. Number two is to add to the balance and harmony of the planet. And number three was to provide a food source for those of us who are elevating the spirituality of humanity. Later on, when I started to eat meat, I felt terrible about eating the animals. If I think about it too much, it still bothers me. But I had another vision, and I was shocked that I got the same message. First of all, they told me they're in a far better place. Second of all, they told me that they had the same three primary reasons for being here: to reproduce, to add to the harmony and balance of the ecosphere or the planet, and to provide food for those of us who are elevating humanity. But you can consider supplementing your diet with eggs or hulled hemp seeds, which also give us all the protein that we need. And I'll get a little bit more into that later on. And I also want to make a note about pH and blood hunger. Balancing our pH and eating for health is pretty much the same thing. Get some litmus paper and test your urine frequently. It should remain in the green zone for optimal health. Yellow or purple suggests an imbalance and are the zones where fungus, disease, and pathogens reign. You may wish to consult the many pH food charts available online and choose more foods that help you to eat your way to an alkalized body. So you'll see a chart here. Those of you who are on audio, again, you'll want to come over and take a look at the video. I've got a picture of some the type of litmus paper that you can pick up pretty much at any drugstore, and a pH chart. So your pH is how acidic or how alkaline your blood and your body is running. And we're supposed to be around 6 or 7, which is in the mid-range. But when our body becomes too alkaline or too acidic, that can cause us to get sick and to not feel good. So it's good to monitor this. Now, I want to also give everybody a warning. I've heard a lot of people on social media programs talk about how they consume baking soda to more alkalize their bodies because they're too pH. And I want to highly recommend that you do not do this, because your stomach acid has to be at a specific pH. It's very acidic. So on this chart, it might be a 1 or a 2 or maybe a 3, but probably a 2 or a 1. It's very acidic, so it can break down the proteins that we need, and it can also break down and alert the body that fat is coming through, so the liver knows how much bile to secrete so you can absorb your fats, which are absolutely essential for health and even spiritual enlightenment. So these people are taking all this baking soda, and it's alkalizing their stomach acids, and then they can't digest their foods properly. And so they're wondering why they're getting sick and why they're having depression and anxiety. It's because they're not able to break down the proteins and prepare the body to receive proteins and fats. So I really want to recommend that folks don't do that. You can do it just by eating real, live, healthy food. Oops, I forgot one thing, sorry. I wanted to say, I know I dieted and I exercised myself up to 320 pounds. The more I starved and ate diet foods, the bigger I got. So that does have something to do with pH, because what I was eating was causing my body to be acidic and also overly alkaline, depending on what I was eating. And this definitely affected my hunger signals. So blood hunger is not the same thing as stomach hunger. Blood hunger is where you need nutrients, and the only place you can get them is from real whole foods. Benefits of organic, live, and raw foods. I'll admit that it was not easy to cure my carbohydrate addiction, but once I got that monkey off my back, real food tasted better than processed foods. Flavor is a combination of taste, texture, and aroma. I still have fun coming up with new ways to combine organic, live, raw foods to form my recipe favorites. I love the real foods that I eat so much that I have no problem turning down the processed alternatives. So again, we've talked in the previous workshops and tutorials about what we need to do to take care of our addictions, which include our food addictions to food-like substances, sugars, and chemicals, and things that are found in substandard foods. But once we go through that, then real food starts to taste absolutely yummy, delicious. You see, our taste buds tell us what tastes good and what doesn't. And processed foods are engineered to overstimulate our taste buds, and that's what keeps us addicted. But when we stop eating them, the chemical environment within our mouth, the enzymes that our digestive juices, our saliva produces, become different. And pretty soon we're not overstimulating our taste buds with the processed foods, so that ordinary food now starts to taste delicious. So you really got to go through that detoxification process before you actually start tasting food. And then you're so surprised at how delicious it really is, and you have no problem staying off the processed alternatives. Restaurants have no appeal to me, as I'm always disappointed with the flavor and the quality of the foods they serve. So every once in a while, somebody wants to take you out for a meal, or it's Mother's Day and you want to go out for breakfast. Well, when you're used to eating real food, the restaurant food just tastes like crap, and you just can't justify spending that kind of money, for food that just doesn't do it for you and just doesn't taste good. So I've got a little hint here. By the way, while you are recovering from eating sweets and processed foods, you can make your own sweet treats from raw organic seeds, small pieces of dried fruits, cacao nibs, and raw coconut oil with a dash of sea salt. So you just combine whatever you want. You can combine hemp seeds, you can combine sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, whatever you're attracted to. You can crush up some nuts and put that in if you want. And then you add some small pieces of dried fruit, and cacao nibs are much better than chocolate chips because they're unsweetened and they're in the natural state. And then you just combine it all in a bowl with some sea salt and raw coconut oil. You have to melt the coconut oil. You mix it together, you shape them into bite-sized cookies, and then you refrigerate or freeze them. And then you just take out what you want to eat when you want to eat it. So you can eat this sweet and crunchy snack as part of your daily reward. So that's what I did to help me get off sugar, because to go from 0 to 100% healthy is not easy. And I needed to not only replicate the tastes and the sweetness and the saltiness, I needed to also replicate the crunch. I really missed the crunch. Texture was really an important part of what I was eating. So that's what I did to recover. And if you like colorful, crunchy, and juicy foods, try making salads with fresh fruits, vegetables, seeds, and lots of dressing. And you can make your own dressing without seed, corn, or soy oils. So when you're eating seeds, you're eating the complete food in its natural state. But when you're eating seed oils, they've been highly refined and they're very toxic. But you can make your own salad dressings and they're absolutely delicious, and experiment with spices and herbs and all kinds of things. They're also very portable. You can pack them for your lunch, and it's a good way to get some live food into your diet. I love real food so much, and I love the way it makes me feel. As a result, my physical and mental health is better than ever. Eat better to increase your energy, think more clearly, and have more fun planning your life. A side effect of an improved diet is more spiritual well-being, which assists with co-creation and manifestation. Yes, really, really. So a lot of people don't realize the connection between food and manifesting and bringing into our lives more of what we want to have and more of what we need. Should I pause till Don comes back or just continue?
Yeah.
Was he asked if you could pause.
Yeah, okay. I'll pause for a moment. So earlier, I guess what I'm going to do is now just reflect for a minute. Earlier, before we started recording this program, the workshop, we were talking about spiritual experiences. And both Dawn and I have transdimensional experiences without the use of psychedelics. Other people have to use psilocybin or mushrooms or other psychedelics to get the same effect and be able to have the same experiences. And I think part of what can help, at least in my case, like I guess I can only speak for myself, is the fact that foods, real foods, help to power me so that I'm able to have transdimensional experiences, without having to take psychedelics. I was just filling in a bit while we were waiting for you to come back, Don.
Sorry, the second bottle of water hit me and it wasn't waiting.
Oh, that's totally okay. That's totally okay. So
Thank you.
now, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So now we're going to get a little bit into organic. And a lot of people cringe when I start talking about organic because it is more expensive. And I was on Spinja's show yesterday, and we were talking about, things that I had to do, sacrifices I had to make in order to eat organic foods. Now, you figure I was out collecting wine bottles to return. I was getting 5 cents each, and I was paying $5 for an organic red pepper. That's 100 wine bottles to get a red pepper. That's a lot of work. Why would I do it? So I'm going to explain a little bit about why I would do that. Why choose organic? I know organic foods are more expensive, but the toxic elements in standard produce cannot simply be washed off. So my mom used to say to me, well, just peel it and you'll be okay. But it's so much more than that. The main reason to buy organic is because both national and state organic certification rules do not allow genetically engineered or GE foods to be labeled organic. When you buy organic, you buy foods free of synthetic pesticides and also free of genetically engineered ingredients. Choose foods certified as non-GMO Project verified. The Non-GMO Project is the only organization offering independent verification for GMO products in the US and Canada since 2014. The acronym GMO stands for Genetically Modified Organisms, which refers to any food product that has been altered at the gene level. Genetically modified foods are also frequently described as genetically engineered, genetically altered, or genetically manipulated. I also recommend EWG's Shopper's Guide to Avoiding GE Foods to find out which foods are made without GMO ingredients. By the way, foods containing GMOs do not have to declare this on the label. So I want to make a little clarification here. There is genetic modification that's done through the breeding of different plants, crossing plants, taking the most, optimal strains and reproducing them. That's a natural process. That does not actually alter the genetic code of the food item artificially. When I'm speaking about GMO foods, I'm talking about them doing gene splicing, generally using the CRISPR method. So for instance, Bill Gates has genetically modified wheat and corn and other products so that they're now integrated with the Roundup or the herbicide that keeps the other plants and pests from competing with the plants. So when you're eating those plants, you're getting a healthy dose, well, I should say an unhealthy dose of pesticides and herbicides. You're ingesting it along with the plants. And so it's really important that people don't eat these frankenfoods because our bodies don't know what to do with them. And we end up building up tons of inflammation, which makes us sick, which takes us to the doctor looking for a cure. And maybe it's the foods we're eating. So that's why I have this warning in this workshop. If you truly cannot afford organic foods, at very least, look at pesticide-free options. And if possible, try growing your own foods and learn to can and dehydrate them for winter. So even if you don't have a plot of land that you can dig up or you're renting, you can have a patio garden, you can have windowsill plants, you could sprout your own use seeds for sprouting. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but you gotta put some effort into it. So here is an image, two images. One is a label off of a salad dressing, and you can see circled that has ingredients, water, vegetable oils, and it doesn't even really tell you what kind of vegetable oils, except it does say it contains genetically modified soybean oil. And on the right, there's an image that shows the 10 most often genetically modified foods. Now, this was taken from 2014. So now they're absolutely all genetically modified. Unless they're labeled organic, they are genetically modified. And that would include corn, golden rice, soy, cottonseed, canola, tomatoes, potatoes, sugar beets, squash, and papaya. The 4 most commonly genetically modified foods are field corn and corn-derived ingredients. That would include high fructose corn syrup, soybeans and soybean-derived ingredients, sugar, and vegetable oils. On the watch list are papaya, zucchini, summer squash, sweet corn, and Aqua Advantage salmon, which is farmed fish. And up for GMO approval back in 2014 was flax, potato, plums, radicchio, rice, tomato, and wheat. And I've got a link in a PDF primer here where you can look online and do your own research. Personally, I do not trust anything that's been created without the creator. I will do everything in my power to eat non-GMO foods. Everything I need is already here, so why add something artificial? How to tell if your fresh produce is GMO. These instructions apply for North America. And again, those of you who are listening on audio, you might want to come over and see the visual to get the most out of this workshop. So you look at the numbers printed on the produce code, not the barcode. See the illustration. So in this illustration, you'll see a little ... around the box, and that has the barcode that gets scanned so that you know how much you have to pay for the item. That is different than the produce code. The produce codes start with the number 4 or a number 9. If it's organic, there will be 5 digits displayed, with the first being the number 9. If it is genetically modified or engineered, and they're honest about it in the labeling, the first digit may be the number 8. But foods containing GMOs do not have to declare this on the label. So be suspicious of all regular produce codes. All regular produce, not organic and possibly GMO, will start with the number 4. So the next time you're in the supermarket, take a look at the stickers on the apples, the twist ties that are on the broccoli, things like that, and notice not the barcode, but the product code. And notice, what does it start with? If it starts with a 4, then it's not organic and it's quite likely GMO. So before we move on to the next section, do any of you have anything you want to ask or comment about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a major pharmaceutical company right now involved in all of this in a class action lawsuit down in the States about Roundup. And
Yeah.
more commonly known, the vegetables that you're talking about are from a genetically modified seed called Roundup Ready. And what Roundup is, just real quick for those who don't know, it's a derivative of Agent Orange back from Vietnam.
Yep.
When Nam was over, they didn't know what to do with it. They started using it as a pesticide.
Yep.
There's a major pharmaceutical company trying to save their butts over this entire thing right now because they produced the chemical and then modified the food to be safe with it. That's all I want.
Yep. Another one is I don't know if I'm saying it right, glyphosate, where they spray the wheat with that. And what they do is they wait till just before a harvest and they spray it with this pesticide. The plant thinks it's dying. So in an effort to reproduce, it provides an abundance of the granules that are harvested for wheat to make the flour. But that's never washed off or extracted from the plants. So a lot of people think they're gluten intolerant, and what it actually is they're allergic to the chemicals and the toxins that have been sprayed on the wheat, and antifungals and all kinds of stuff.
Go ahead.
Ray, sorry, Ray, I didn't see your hand.
No worries. I can I'm just remembering like last year in science when we were talking about like genetically modifying stuff, and like as opposed to like adding chemicals or just like and I just can remember thinking to myself, if the chemicals added, how do we know it's like washed off and not just inside the fruit itself? So like this is interesting.
Yeah, no, it's never washed off. It's never. Remember, as I keep saying in all these workshops, there is a war against humanity. And if we're sick all the time and malnourished, we're much easier to conquer and to subdue. So yeah, good point, Ray. Thank you. So now I want to move on to a few other factors that people often don't consider. One is chewing and the other is your environment. So both chewing technique and your dining environment are really important to well-being. Take time to really chew your food well. Sometimes it's so delicious that we have a hard time not to swallow it before it's fully liquefied. This is an important step and in the digestion process. So follow the simple rule, chew your juice and drink your food. So if you're drinking a juice or a smoothie or something that's liquefied already, don't just chug it down. Keep it in your mouth so that your mouth produces the enzymes to start breaking that food down so that you can digest it. So it's not just about getting the food to the stomach. We need to start the digestion process in the mouth. And drink your food, which means chew it until it's liquid and well mixed with our saliva. And then it starts the first whole part of the digestion process before it hits the stomach. And in the stomach, as we said earlier, that's where the proteins are digested and broken down, and the liver is alerted that there's fats on the way so that the liver can produce the bile to break down the fats. There's no point in eating well if our bodies are not able to absorb and digest the nutrients. They have to be able to get into the body. And very few people think about the chewing process as being a necessary part of digestion. Also, prepare a nice, relaxing environment for yourself while you eat. Treat yourself like a beloved friend and set things up so you enjoy your surroundings and not be in a hurry. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm often guilty of wanting to grab my plate and sit in front of the TV or a screen and stuff it down while I'm watching a show. That's, big deal for me. But I have to stop and go, wait a minute, I need to be mentally prepared. So if I'm watching an action show or even the news while I'm eating my food, that is absolutely affecting my digestive process. We need to be able to relax and feel comfortable. The eating experience is spiritual, sensual, and so enjoyable. Why not bring more enjoyment into your life? Love your food and let it love you back. Prepare your eating area with as much care as you would if someone special were joining you. You are worth it, and this really shows a deep love and respect for your temple body and for yourself. And once you try it a few times, you'll see that it makes all the world a difference. And you relax and you just, you have an energetic exchange with the food. And it is a great way to show yourself self-love. So just take those few minutes and start, maybe eating together the way families used to at the table. Just try it, and then afterwards you can dash off and watch everything else. And now I want to talk a bit about hemp hearts. One of the most nutritional foods on the planet. Raw hulled hemp seeds are one of the most nutritious foods in the world because they're a rich source of phytonutrients, which are the healing elements of plants, with benefits protecting your immunity, your bloodstream, your tissues, your cells, your skin, your organs, and your mitochondria. Hulled hemp seeds do not contain THC. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. That's the active substance that's found in cannabis. So there isn't any in the seeds. And these are hulled seeds. So the tough outer exterior has been removed. That just gives you that nice, soft internal seed that's lovely to eat and absolutely will not get you high, much to the disappointment of some of the listeners. This superfood provides a broad spectrum of health benefits, including weight loss, increased and sustained energy, rapid recovery from disease or injury, lowered cholesterol and blood pressure, reduced inflammation, improvement in circulation and immune system, as well as natural blood sugar control. Raw hulled hemp seed offers a superior balance of proteins, essential fatty acids, vitamins, and enzymes, and is much more balanced and digestible than soy or whey products. This is a wonderful alternative to factory meats. So when I was eating hemp seeds, I was adding them to a smoothie. It helped thicken them up and added a nice creamy component to the flavor. Raw hemp seeds contain vitamin A, B1, B2, B6, C, D, E, alpha, beta, gamma, delta tocopherol, and alpha tocotrienol, lecithin, choline, inositol, and chlorophyll. They contain essential minerals, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, calcium, iron, manganese, zinc, sodium, silicon, copper, platinum, boron, nickel, germanium, tin, iodine, chromium, silver, and lithium. So they have a nice calming effect as well. Hemp seeds supply an abundance of life force energy and enzymes. and is a great source of zinc, phosphorus, magnesium, and iron, important for bone health, oxygen delivery, and immune health. For detailed and well-researched information on the benefits of eating hemp seeds, read 2 articles by Lynn Osborne. And again, if you purchase the PDF, you can just click the link and it will take you directly to these articles. And so the first article is about hemp seed being the most nutritionally complete food source in the world. And the second one is about hemp seed oils and the flow of life force. So a lot of people are like to keep themselves on a low-fat diet. They don't realize that fats and oils are absolutely essential for the life force to flow within the body. Hemp seed oil comprises 35% of the total seed weight, with more essential fatty acids than flax or any other nut or seed oil. Essential fatty acids, or EFAs, are necessary to produce life energy from food and move that energy throughout the body. EFAs govern growth, vitality, and state of mind, and carry the high energy required for the most active tissues and ensure very high oxygen availability. Life force travels through the body via the essential fatty acids and their derivatives. So for those of you who are on the awakening or ascension path, you may have seen videos about the fluid in our spinal fluid that travels and helps people to reach enlightenment. Well, that is, they're talking about the essential fatty acid pathway. So that is why essential fatty acids are so important, and they're in abundance in hemp seeds. Low in carbohydrates, hemp seeds are ideal for those following the paleo or keto diet, or who are carb conscious for their health. So that's another alternative. We live in Alberta, and they have some wonderful hemp farms here. Rocky Mountain Hemp offers, you can order online and they deliver, and you can order hemp seeds or hemp oil that's been cold extracted, isn't processed. So for those of you who want to order it online. And did you folks have anything to say about fats, oils, hemp seeds, anything like that?
I actually want to jump back a little bit more when you were talking about the way you eat, like setting out a dining area.
Okay.
Something I recently I didn't know was your eating utensils as well, because of the receptors on your tongue. It causes a physiological reaction when you use like a steel or a silverware utensil. It touches your mouth and prepares your body to process a metal. Wherein if you have like a bamboo or a wooden utensil, or even using your hands, your body is in a natural state of reception. It doesn't identify the metal in your receptors.
That's a really good. That's a really good point, Don. And that, I gotta say, some of the Eastern cultures, like the Chinese people, they have been so technologically and intellectually advanced, thousands of years ahead of Europeans. And notice they use chopsticks, which are generally made out of wood. So case in point, yes. So I'm going to move on to insulin resistance and juicing. I have a few things to say about my experiences with juicing. There's no doubt that for some, juicing can be a fast and effective way to lose weight and improve health. But for those who have diabetes type 1 or type 2, insulin resistance, or are pre-diabetic, juicing may not be our best option. I have insulin resistance and found juicing exacerbated this condition because juices contain a lot, I mean a lot, of natural sugars. So a lot of people, they buy juicing machines and they juice all their fruits and vegetables, and some do okay with it. But so many of us, if not the majority of us, are now being plagued with a metabolic syndrome, diabetes, insulin resistance, things like that. Juicing is not good at all. And this is why I highly recommend green smoothies made with hulled hemp seeds, fresh fruits and vegetables. The protein and the fiber slow down digestion and are less likely to trigger metabolic conditions. So rather than using a juicer, why not use your blender and make yourself some fruit smoothies, and put in some protein, because the protein helps slow it down. Ray, did you have something you wanted to say?
No.
No? Okay. Just didn't want to miss you again.
No, I'm all right.
Everybody thrives when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change we wish to see in the world. Sometimes, though, we need a little help from consultation and support services. Have you discovered that this world is not what you thought it was? Have recent global events awakened you and leave you feeling unsettled? Do you feel isolated by your new, not so popular beliefs? It is a big shock to wake up and find that the old familiar world is gone. It can be disturbing to go down the various rabbit holes, only to find that the information is difficult to digest, and few people are willing to talk openly about it. Would you like to learn how to thrive in this new state of awareness? You are not a conspiracy theorist. You are awakening, and once you find your way through it, there are many blessings waiting on the other side. My name is Karen Holton, and I offer vital services that may be just what you need, and support for your journey into the weird and wonderful. Check out my Awakening Support and Ascension Consultation Services, created to support individuals with their chosen alternative realities and lifestyles, health and recovery, and their spiritual adventures. For more details, check out the various vital services found on my website, and be assured that I have found personal success with every category featured. My website is www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton HealthCoach.com.
Okay, seeds and nuts. I have found great success substituting nuts and seeds for carbs. This is again when we're trying to get off of our sugar addictions and our processed food addictions. So, and I also got off beans, all kinds of beans. I found out they didn't agree with me, and have converted my body to run on healthful fats and oils instead. This slower burning system satisfies hunger and really provides tons of energy. Also, if you soak and then rinse your nuts and seeds, the enzyme inhibitors are removed and the spark of life is initiated, greatly increasing the life force and the nutritional quality in them. So when you have seeds, and you plant them, it takes time for the rain and watering them to wash off what they call the enzyme inhibitors. And then the spark of life is initiated and a little plant starts to grow. So when you want to eat nuts and you want to eat seeds, it's a really good idea to soak them. That removes the enzyme inhibitors. So it's prior to when they hit the sprouting phase, and they're activated, and they have many times more nutritional value if you do that. So it's an easy process. I simply put them in a mason jar with filtered water and leave them in the fridge overnight. And in the morning, I give them a rinse, I dry them back out, and then I add them to smoothies or blend them to make my own non-dairy milk. And here's a couple images here. One is of the soaked nuts in a blender. And then below is a fruit smoothie made with nut milk instead of dairy, because a lot of people have problems eating dairy. And I want to just give you another caution about preservatives. All processed foods contain preservatives. This allows foods to be stored for up to 25 years. This food is always toxic. which is why the rats, the insects, and the other pests do not eat it. Even a small bug knows that it will die if it eats the processed foods. So I want to really put a warning out there to preppers. There's all kinds of dehydrated foods that you can buy. And they have, they tell you that it's got a 25-year shelf life. And, when the shit hits the fan, you're going to need these foods. Well, there's two problems with that. Now, I'm not saying they're all bad for you, but quite a few of them are processed so that they can last for 25 years without going rancid. And a lot of them require a tremendous amount of water to reconstitute them. So if the shit hits the fan, where are you going to get water when it's no longer coming out of your tap, when you can't get to a store, when you can't buy the water, or money's no good anymore? How are you going to get that water? Unless you have a fresh spring on your property, you can't reconstitute that food anyway. So I just want to put that out there. Further, the preservatives in processed foods will prevent any real food you eat from breaking down in the digestive tract, and then you cannot digest and absorb the nutrients. Even if you only eat processed or junk foods once a week, it stays in your digestive system for days. This has a detrimental effect on the gut biome, and the body never gets the chance to digest real food properly. You can eat healthy all week, but as soon as you gulp down a fast food snack, you no longer absorb the nutrition you need for health and sanity. So a lot of people don't realize that stuff sits in your gut, destroys your gut biome, and then you're not digesting your food. And we need to digest our food in order to get the nutrients, in order to be healthy and to be able to think clearly. So that also, as we covered in previous workshops, includes MSGs, artificial sweeteners, and especially high fructose corn syrups that are in just about everything.
Karen, I just wanted to note, I saw in a post, they're also starting to, I don't know, so this is why I'm asking. I saw somebody post something that they've changed the terms of some of the artificial sweeteners. And I don't know if it's aspartame is being renamed as birch sugar or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's maltitol, but yeah, it's being called birch sugar. And then what happens is it poisons your pets, because a lot of us share what we eat with our pets.
Yes, that's what it was. So I guess the point, my point is, maybe consider doing even more research in the labels, because it seems to be constantly changing. Like they're constantly changing terms. Like it's frustrating, but like that's the only way you really stay in the know, right?
Well, that's why I stay away from sweeteners completely. So whether it's Equal or Sweet and Low or Splenda or, birch sugar or coconut sugar or, all of them, I just stay away from all of them, but not everybody can or will. But, this is just advice, people don't have to take what you can do. And, that's why I actually recommend doing the Quantum Health Transformation program, the whole program. Once you're finished, start it and do it again. And then you get into progressive layers of competence with it. Cooking and meal preparation. How do you cook your food? Do you use the microwave and plastic containers? Do you enjoy the convenience of non-stick pans? Some research has shown that vegetables lose some of their nutritional value in the microwave. The intense heat produced by microwaves destroys vitamins, enzymes, proteins, antioxidants, and certainly life force. Exposure to PFAS, which are used widely not only in non-stick cookware, but also in stain and water-resistant gear and grease-proof food packaging, has been linked to liver damage, lowered immunity in kids, and other health concerns. And then plastic containers. Studies have found that certain chemicals in plastic can leach out of the plastic and into the food and beverages beverages that we eat. Plastic containers can leach chemicals such as bisphenol A or BPA and phthalates into food, especially when they are heated or exposed to acidic or fatty substances. So we covered that in the Quantum Health Transformation Step 6, Part 1, external, and also Part 2, internal detoxification. So a lot of people aren't aware of that. Some of these chemicals have been linked to health problems such as metabolic disorders, including obesity and reduced fertility. Now, I know it's really hard to get away from plastics. You know, I really like those Ziploc bags. Boy, they're convenient, you know. But I just try to, I actually go to the dollar store and buy glass containers. They have a plastic lid. The lid doesn't touch the food, and I try to store things in glass. It's heavy, it's cumbersome, but, you know, I'm trying to reduce my own toxic load. So again, you just do the best you can with what you have. But those nonstick pans are really, really dangerous to your health. And, you know, people are using them on all the cooking shows and stuff because they're super convenient. You just wipe them out with a paper towel. But you can season a cast iron frying pan and it actually works just as well. I use stainless steel and I just soak them and then scrub them out, and they're not that bad.
Yeah.
So now I have to switch gears completely, absolutely completely. And I hope, are you folks good for time? Because we've got about another 15 minutes.
Another 15, that's fine.
Okay.
Ray, check on the dogs real quick.
Do you want to go do that now, Don, before we get into this?
He's out there right now checking on it.
Oh, okay. So I can wait a few minutes.
Yeah, I think he's almost back. But no, I just wanted to point out too, and this gets a little tinfoil hatty, like we've talked about it before, how like, you know, we were in the middle of an oil crisis when all of this wonderful plastic stuff came into our lives, and that just doesn't really line up with what was being said. You know, in a time of war, you don't start making tin cans to send to everybody's home.
Yeah.
This didn't make it. There's no logic to it. Head that all of these plastic wonderful conveniences came out right in the middle of an oil crisis.
Yeah.
Something doesn't click. Anyways, Ray's back. I've got my tinfoil hat on, and yeah.
Well, no, I'm glad you do, and it's a really good point, because the other thing too is look at how much plastics is used in the pharmaceutical industry, and especially during the last 3 years with injection materials and PCR tests and masks and all that crap. How much plastic is being used? And meanwhile, they're trying to say oil and gas is bad. Like, what the hell? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out to go further to your point.
For a second, the dog was up to something, so I just had to see what he was doing.
So is everything good now? You guys are ready? So this last section is not easy for people to hear. And the reason I added it was because I myself suffer from many of these food sensitivities, and I did not realize it. So as I was mentioning before, I was raw vegan for a while. I used to use hemp seeds as my main source of protein because I didn't want to do cruelty to animals. And then I just got sicker and sicker, and then I found out about food sensitivities. So there's no pretty pictures to go along with these because it's not good news, but I have to tell everybody about it. So some people cannot tolerate certain kinds of foods. They suffer from acute and chronic health conditions, but they never discover the root cause. With all of my recommendations urging you to eat more organic, fresh, and raw produce, I would be remiss if I did not include this section. If you have digestive issues or are suffering from chronic health conditions that do not seem to get better despite positive lifestyle changes, you may want to consider and do some research into the following conditions. And this is basically the path of discovery that I took, and that's how I found out about these. So the first one is called FODMAP. FODMAP is an acronym, FODMAP. It stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols, which are short-chain carbohydrate sugars that the small intestine absorbs poorly. Some people experience Some people experience digestive distress after eating them. Symptoms include cramping, diarrhea, bloating, and discomfort. Many people with digestive symptoms find that certain foods seem to trigger these symptoms. It's sometimes a long process of trial and error to pinpoint precisely which foods are the triggers. Researchers discovered that our digestive enzymes can't break down certain types of carbohydrates known as FODMAPs, which include starches, sugars, and fibers in food. Instead, the good bacteria in our gut ferment them, avoiding foods that contain these carbohydrates, and only eating low FODMAP foods may be the key to relieving uncomfortable symptoms triggered by certain foods. For people with gastrointestinal problems like bloating, gas, or irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, a low FODMAP diet may help. Some studies have shown that 3 out of 4 people with IBS saw fewer symptoms right away, with the most relief after a week of eating a low FODMAP diet. A low FODMAP diet may also help those suffering from food intolerance, which is a common cause of digestive symptoms, such as bloating, gas, and abdominal pain. High FODMAP foods that you should avoid include fructose, so that's fruits, including apples, mangoes, pears, watermelon, honey, high fructose corn syrup, and agave. Lactose, dairy, milk from cows, goats, or sheep, custard, yogurt, ice cream. Fructans, rye and wheat, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, onions, garlic. Galactans, legumes such as beans, including baked beans, lentils, chickpeas, and soybeans. Polyols, which are sugar alcohols, and fruits that have pits or seeds, such as apples, apricots, avocados, cherries, figs, peaches, pears, or plums. Polyols are also the sugar alcohols that are found in some of these other non-sugar sweeteners that are not chemical, that they proclaim are all natural and derived from fruits and vegetables, and they can cause this problem as well. Then there are lectins. Lectins are a family of proteins found in almost all foods, especially legumes and grains. Some people claim that lectins cause increased gut permeability, which is like leaky gut syndrome, and drive autoimmune diseases. While it's true that certain lectins are toxic and cause harm when consumed in excess, they're easy to get rid of through cooking. They are found in all plants, but raw legumes like beans, lentils, peas, soybeans, and peanuts, and whole grains like wheat contain the highest amounts of lectins. Symptoms associated with lectin and aquaporin food sensitivities include bloating, gas, and abdominal cramps, painful and swollen joints, fatigue and tiredness, skin rashes, hormonal fluctuations, nausea, allergy-like symptoms, and even neurological symptoms. High lectin food sources. Lectins are carb-binding proteins, mostly found in plants. They are also known as anti-nutrients, compounds that may reduce the body's ability to absorb essential nutrients from foods. Lectins are speculated to cause a number of health problems, not benefits, problems, including weight gain, digestive issues, arthritis, headaches, and brain fog. Lectins are mostly found in nutritious foods, including the 14 listed below: wheat germ, barley, rice, eggplants, potatoes, tomatoes, garden peas, jack beans, navy beans, lima beans, red kidney beans, soybeans, peanuts, and nutmeg. These 6 foods are some of the worst sources of lectins in the American diet when consumed raw: kidney beans, peanuts, whole grains, soybeans, and potatoes. People have actually died from eating raw potatoes, and I never knew that before. And it explains why I got so sick on a raw vegan diet. So although there are some foods that you want to eat raw, there are many foods that we should not eat raw, and it does take a bit of research. So we've talked so far about FODMAPs and we've talked about lectins. Now we're talking about another thing called oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds found in vegetables, fruits, nuts, and grains. Some examples of foods that are highest in oxalates include green leafy vegetables, especially spinach, soy, almonds, potatoes, tea, rhubarb, cereal grains, beets, and many spices. Oxalates are also naturally created in the human body as a waste product. Oxalates can bind to calcium and to a lesser extent other minerals in the stomach and intestines. This binding can reduce absorption of these minerals, inhibiting their ability to be used. For this reason, oxalates have been labeled an anti-nutrient. Excuse me. Foods that are high in oxalate include spinach, rhubarb, rice bran, buckwheat, almonds, miso, and spices like turmeric, clove, cinnamon, celery seed, black pepper, cumin, and more. What are the symptoms of high oxalates? Pain in the lower back or the side of the body, nausea and or vomiting with the pain, blood in the urine, pain when urinating or unable to urinate, feeling the need to urinate more often, fever, chills, urine that smells bad or looks cloudy. Other conditions that may be related to oxalate include fibromyalgia, vulvodynia, autism, heart disease, any chronic pain condition, digestive problems, and more. So for myself, I had an overbuildup of oxalates and it caused fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and arthritis. And then as if that's not bad enough, I have to warn you about histamines. Histamines are found in foods such as tuna, mackerel, anchovy, spinach, wine, sausage, fermented foods and dairy products, alcohol, aged cheeses, eggplant, avocado, citrus fruits, dried fruit, strawberries, pineapple, pears, olives, legumes, bananas, tomatoes, wheat germ, beans, papaya, chocolate, and processed meats. The symptoms can affect the lungs, skin, and brain. The gastrointestinal symptoms, such as bloating, are most common. Often people with histamine intolerance experience diarrhea and headaches. For these people, histamine builds up in the body and is not broken down correctly. This can trigger an immune system response, resulting in symptoms such as diarrhea, shortness of breath, headaches, or skin irritation. Coffee is high in histamine, which can set off what looks like an allergic reaction, but it doesn't occur through the typical allergy mechanism. Instead, the histamine from the coffee causes an inflammatory reaction that can be quite severe in some people. Histamine is involved in regulating the body's stress response, and high levels of histamine, can lead to increased nervous system activity and heightened anxiety. Histamine excess can also contribute to anxiety and panic by causing anxiety-provoking symptoms such as difficulty breathing and a rapid heart rate. So for those people who are experiencing anxiety, they might want to consider doing a search for what foods are lower in histamines and just changing their diet for a couple of weeks to see. So another thing I need to warn people about is fiber and SIBO. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, also known as SIBO, is defined as the presence of excessive bacteria in the small intestine. SIBO is frequently implicated in the cause of chronic diarrhea and malabsorption. Signs and symptoms of SIBO often include loss of appetite, abdominal pain, nausea and bloating and diarrhea, an uncomfortable feeling of fullness after eating, unintentional weight loss, and even malnutrition. You can consume fiber with SIBO or IBS, but some types of fiber may be easier to digest than others. When you're first starting on a diet for SIBO or IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, you may want to restrict most fiber, especially fermentable fibers, temporarily while your microbiome adjusts. Eating too much fiber can cause digestive distress, gas, and intestinal blockages. If you have too much fiber, you may experience bloating, abdominal pain, flatulence, loose stools or diarrhea, constipation, temporary weight gain, intestinal blockage in people with Crohn's disease, and reduced blood sugar levels, which is important to know if you have diabetes. You know, we're always being told you need more fiber, you need more fiber. Fiber is not good for everybody. And the more weakened your body is from eating a standard North American diet, the more likely you're going to have food sensitivities. But once you find out what's causing them and you alter your diet, your body will repair itself. So then there's nickel allergy. If you are allergic to the metals in cheap jewelry, you might have a nickel allergy. It is not enough to stay away from skin contact with nickel and seek out nickel-free jewelry. Many foods contain nickel and can cause physiological problems for those who are nickel sensitive. Internal exposure can harm the lungs, the stomach, and the kidneys. Exposure to nickel may lead to cancer. So as we talked earlier about hemp hearts, which are basically a wonderful source of protein, it does contain nickel, and many foods contain nickel. And if we don't realize it and we have a nickel allergy, it can be causing us all kinds of problems. Common symptoms are rash or bumps on the skin, itching, which may be severe, redness or changes in skin color, dry patches of skin that may resemble a burn, blisters and draining fluid in severe cases. Many cause gastrointestinal symptoms like IBS, nausea, paralysis, meteorism, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and constipation. The following foods have been found to have a higher nickel content: legumes, nuts and seeds, chocolate, cacao, and cocoa, oats and oatmeal, soybeans, tuna, herring, shellfish, salmon, and mackerel, fresh and dried legumes, all drinks and vitamin supplements with nickel, canned foods, green tea, beer, red wine, and tap water. Chronic and acute illness recovery. It could take months to years to figure out what is at the root of chronic and acute health issues. Navigating the possibilities from FODMAPs, lectins, oxalates, histamines, fiber, and SIBO, and nickel allergy can be overwhelming. You may wish to do a trial and error experiment, but there is an easier way. Many people are using the complete elimination diet, also called the carnivore lifestyle. There's much evidence that a carnivore diet is helping people with autism, seizures, mental health issues, and an array of other health issues that have previously been thought of as hopeless. So a lot of people don't realize there's over 100 years of research has gone into the carnivore eating program. And it's been used medically to treat digestive issues, for 100 years or more, and mental health issues and all kinds of issues. So it is a legitimate and valid way of eating. And so I recommended Dr. Anthony Shafi. He's a plant-free medical doctor, and I've got the link to his YouTube channel in the PDF. And he has hours and hours of free medical advice to help you navigate your journey to better health through the carnivore lifestyle. And there's also Dr. Ken D. Berry. He's another plant-free medical doctor. He also has a YouTube channel and offers hours of free medical advice to help you navigate your journey to better health through the carnivore lifestyle. Now, I myself have suffered from so many food sensitivities that I actually started the carnivore lifestyle a year ago. And I've been living on just meat, primarily red meat, but I did eat some pork. I'm now switching over to just red meat, which is ruminant animals, water, and salt. That's it. Nothing else. And I've had absolutely miraculous improvement in my health over the last year. So I'm going to do it probably for another year or maybe even longer. I'm not recommending it because it's not considered healthy by the medical industry, but for the people who have had serious health challenges, it's been an absolute godsend. So if you have good health, an abundance of energy, clear thinking, and a rich spiritual life, you may not need to take this drastic action. But if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, a radical departure from the norm may be needed to find relief. Now, before I conclude, do any of you have anything you want to say, or?
I think this is all great. Again, definitely looking at some dietary balance things that I know are out of skew. Ray even pointed out, like I've mentioned it on the show before too, about my body's rejection of low quality meat, and I'm going to assume because it's coming from a fairly low end grocery store that it's probably factory meat, and my body is now rejecting it at all times. Like I get stomach cramps to the point where I can't get out of bed if I buy discounted meat. So that's off the table. So all of these things are coming about at a very opportune time because we're looking at making spiritual changes that align with our physiological changes anyway. Right. Yeah. So this is all great information. And like you're saying, nobody has to jump into this with both feet. It's doing what you, like Spinja says, doing what you can with what you have is our current situation. Like, we had a family moment the other day when I looked at the stove and went, nothing on here came out of a box or a can.
Excellent. Excellent.
And to pry. Right. And that's one step. Like that's what we could do this week.
Yeah. He now owns chicken fingers because he got some chicken on sale, and then he'd been saving the ends of the homemade bread that I've been making. And he made breadcrumbs out of them. And like even that, he was talking about the difference between store-bought bread and the bread that we're making at home.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like I can't believe how long you can leave homemade bread out and it just naturally turns into that breading crumb form that you need. If you try that with store bread, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get mold before you get there.
Yep. And it's like I was mentioning yesterday on Spinja's show, where she was talking about making a chocolate cake. And I say, well, first of all, when you make it at home out of natural ingredients, you're not getting all those preservatives and chemicals. You're getting a far superior taste. You're developing a relationship with your food as you're creating and making it. And so you're doing 100% better right there. So I know I've given you a ton of information, in these workshops. I don't expect anyone to go out and only buy organic and stop eating, all these different foods right away and switch over. No, it doesn't work that way. It has taken me years and years and years to get where I'm at today. And Ray, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, like just with like processed stuff, on my lunches I used to take like applesauce and it was good until he made homemade applesauce and now it tastes terrible. I can taste the
Yeah.
like in it. It's awful.
Yeah,
Like
once you
it's
switch over to good whole foods, oh my goodness, and give your
like
body time to start generating the right kind of enzymes. So say, for instance, you're not used to eating apples or you're not used to eating almonds. It'll actually take 2 or 3 days before your body can produce the enzymes that are in your saliva that start breaking down those foods, and then they taste absolutely delicious. So give yourself a time. Give yourself time. And as this page says, be patient with yourself. It takes time to detoxify and rebuild yourself. Complete healing and restoration takes many years and follows a 7-year cycle. So the first 7 years, the physical body is completely rebuilt. Every cell in your body is replaced. The second 7-year cycle is an emotional cleanse, and you emotionally deal with all your crap and your intergenerational dysfunction and all of that jazz. But first you got to do the physical 7-year cycle. And then after you've done that, then you start to reach spiritual maturity and a further understanding of our higher role in life. And I know we live in a society where you go to the doctor and he gives you a pill and it makes the symptom go away, but it doesn't necessarily address the underlying cause. We're used to instant gratification, and in that way, we're not patient with ourselves, but you have to be patient with yourself. Every step, every baby step takes you closer to your goal. And it's a lifelong thing. It's not something we're going to do for a year and then we're done and we can go back to the old way. No, Don, did you have something else you wanted to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So that's the other thing I wanted to say. In the past, I had lost over 100 pounds 4 times in my life. And the first 3 times when I got my weight down, I started going back to my old lifestyle. I started eating what other people were eating and going out for cocktails and drinking a bottle of wine with dinner and doing all these things that normal people do. Why couldn't I do them? But as soon as I did, I put the weight on and more. So I had to permanently change my habits, and it's not easy. It is a sacrifice, but it's really worth it, and you just work on it a bit at a time. So in conclusion, in step 5, we learned that on a spiritual level, our bodies are temples which are sustained in ways that surpass the physical elements that we can see or touch. Kirlian photography reveals the energetic quality of food, which is also present in our physical and etheric bodies. Local, organic, fresh, raw, live foods and grass-fed pastured meats add an abundance of sun energy as seen with Kirlian photography to nourish and heal us in ways mostly unknown to modern society. Besides providing vitamins, minerals, and enzymes, food is a rich source of spiritual energy, which makes healing possible because it feeds our light body and our soul. We also learned that a plant-based diet does not serve us all, and if we are suffering from acute and chronic illness, we may need to look at a different option. Please honor your temple body, feed and nurture it to find good health, peace of mind, and much love. Now, in the PDF primer, you can click on this link, and I made a video on how to do a do-it-yourself medicinals. It's beyond the scope of this workshop today, but if you want to learn how to make your own medicinals, it's a pretty comprehensive video. It took me several days to make it. Unfortunately, the photography could be better, but the basic message is there. I highly recommend it. And YouTube put an age restriction on it, so you have to be 19 years or older in order to access this video, because it does deal with some medicinals that are made from cannabis and other restricted products. So here's the link to the whole lesson, and this concludes the Quantum Health Transformation version 3.0 Advanced Training for Healers and Alternative health practitioners. Step 5, green, food is medicine and source of universal love energy. Please free to contact me for more information and for assistance with your self-care program. I'm grateful for all the forces that assist me with the production of this free 9-step online course. And so after you have watched the video tutorial and this workshop, you're now ready to join us for step 4, blue. Understand the power of heuristics, know your truth, and speak your truth. So this is about detoxifying from the construct, the programming that we're all born into. But once we start to see it for what it is, it offers tremendous freedom for us to really start to evolve and to, if we're interested in awakening and ascension, or even just want to have more power, more personal power in your life, this is definitely going to be exciting next week. For those of you who want to contact me, again, my name is Karen Holton. I'm a holistic wellness coach and a talk show host. You can find me at my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton, healthcoach.com. You can also find me on YouTube and other social media platforms at Karen Holton TV. You can email me at quantumhealthnow@gmail.com. And again, I recommend that people purchase the PDF. So they've got it and all the links to all my free resources. And that's it for the workshop. So I'm just wondering if, I know I've taken a lot of your time. I'm wondering if you have any questions, comments, any final things you want to add to the program today.
Time doesn't exist anyway. It's no big deal.
You have filled in even more gaps again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got a notebook. I'm just bringing my notebook now. Like it just has to happen. So you've given us a lot of material to dig into, and I think like as we dig, we're going to share what we find on our social media. Like if people are curious or whatever, we'll share our experiences on Facebook for sure. And link back, because I feel like this information is so valuable, and I know people like that they're near and dear to my heart, that I can see how it would benefit. And I'm just so grateful that Ray's here, like taking it all in. You're doing a wonderful thing, and I want to try to help get the word out too, because this is part of changing the world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She had also in her notes put a little asterisk beside a potential idea of a quantum health transformation study group, which I immediately, that'd be a great idea. Maybe that's something once we're done, if people want to touch base, or we'll work that out when it happens. But
yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Yeah, no, I have full intention of doing this again. Because I know, I think like we discussed it before, that I started the first couple of steps before we started this, and even the ones that I did before we started, going over and doing again, I still I saw things in a different light, which brought different questions. So it is absolutely beneficial to do it again, and we will be. And yeah, anyway.
Wonderful. Yeah, a study group would be a really, really good idea. So we're pretty much out of time, but I'm wondering if you folks want to tell the listeners and the viewers where they can find you, what you guys are up to. You've been super busy lately. And Spinja, you've done your first show. I was your guest. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for including me. So tell everybody what you guys are up to.
That was and thank you again, Karen. That was wonderful. That was a great first show. I'm going to upload it on Monday morning and release it then. So that's basically the my show, my channel. I released my first spinning video last week as well, just demonstrating the spin in Spinja. And so that's the direction I'm going to be going. Is I'm going to be interviewing various people, a lot of podcast hosts, because I know that they have they're presenting their information, but sometimes it doesn't fit onto their channel. So that's the part, because like the people in the community, like they are very knowledgeable. They have so many different ideas in regards to survival skills. And I'm not just talking the doom and gloom. I'm talking about like survival day to day, and just different like little life hacks and stuff, and how to maneuver. And so that's where I'm going with that. And then there will be I'm going to be doing more food segments, because I've been getting positive feedback about that. And I'm also just going to leave it open. If anybody has any ideas or questions, like something that they would like me to dive into, I have opened up my Facebook account again. You can find me on there as Canadian Spinja. I'm on Instagram, and then I have my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be trying to get Rumble going up as well. So that's where you can find me.
Wonderful. And Dawn?
All of my stuff, as always, is on YouTube and Rumble right now under March 4th Productions. It's the number 4 with TH. Like I always say, if you want to add me on Facebook and you're not completely weird, go ahead. And by way of quantum entanglement, I just want to shout out her second guest on her show is going to be Brian Sang, who she's actually about to interview right now, who's going to be giving some amazing life hacks as well. And he's also one of the founding members of the Full Disclosure Now movement, which we've kind of, again, universal quantum entanglement. It's just overlaid. But like you said, we've had an amazing weekend, and half of it has been with the FKN cast. Like we finished up with Brian Sang, or not Brian Sang, Stephen from BG Cast. We had you today and yesterday, Chris Matthew yesterday, and that whole network of people is exactly that. It is a network of caring beings that want to share information. So if you're not on there, open your eyes and get over there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Forbidden Knowledge Network, or the Forbidden Knowledge News. Yeah, I'm part of their network as well. I'm very, very privileged to be a part of that. So yeah, a nicer bunch of really honest, sincere people you'll never find. So you've tapped into a wonderful, also Typical Skeptic with Robert Khalil, and a wonderful human being. I just love him to bits. So this is really, really lovely. So with that, all the links will be below. So I encourage the viewers and the listeners to check out Spinja and what she's got, and Don Rogers, and just go down those rabbit holes together, and we'll all hang on. It's just wonderful, wonderful. So thank you everybody for joining me, the listeners, the viewers, and also Spinja, Dawn, and Ray. Thank you so much. And we'll see everybody next time for step 4, where you can learn how to step out of the construct, how to leave the matrix, how to form your own truth. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Lying only makes you hurt. Denying only makes it worse. Love and surrender seem the fastest way to bring an end to bitter, painful days. Somewhere down the stars are falling like jewels upon a thin black veil, and you will thrill to hear your calling. 5 seconds seems like 5 billion years, 10,000 galaxies away, yet still so near.